So that's what we're getting, that's what's happening right now. Whoa, and we had a chiffon, so as I told you, we may have a guest. Not my face. Anyways. He's my assistant. Hi neighbors. So we're gonna go and talk about what is happening in Northern Virginia right now, this past March. So earlier I had, a poll go out on Instagram, and if you didn't see it, well, you kind of missed out on that, but sometimes I do random polls. And I asked people if they think prices have either gone up, down, or stayed flat. Well, just to kind of get you to know what the numbers are, what people thought, 38% of you thought it went up. 15% said it went down, and 47% said it went flat. Now, our area has been going through a lot because, this is Northern Virginia, and in Northern Virginia, we're governed by literally the government. And then as well as we have big businesses like, Boeing, Lockheed, Amazon, data centers. We have a lot of different big contracting companies as well. So the question is did any of this stuff, especially with stuff that's going on in Iran, did any of that affect the real estate market right now? And if you hear any cat noises, because I do have a cat roaming around and he may make an appearance. So anyways, so getting into the numbers of what's been going on in Northern Virginia. A lot of things have been dictated through several things. Either, let's see, do we have a lot of demand? The way things are going, supply, like what's going on out there with these numbers. So demand surges. So let's see here. Demand surges, sales are up by 11.2%. That's year over year. This is all of Northern Virginia. So we're talking Fairfax County, Prince William County, Arlington County, Alexandria City. We're just talking basically all of Northern Virginia. Days on market have actually increased to 25 days, and supply has actually tightened a bit to 1.39. That's month of supply. Nationally, comparing us to the national numbers, nationally 3.6% of U.S. existing home sales have actually dropped in March, versus us, we've actually have it 11.2% going up. So let's go further into the numbers. We had an 11.2% year over year increase in closed sales. That's 1,336. We've had a total volume of 1.19 billion, which is about 10.2% increase. Medium sold price is at 760,000 in Northern Virginia. That's 0.6% year over year. Active listings though have gone down by negative 2.1%, about 1938 right now. New pendings, that means things that are under contract right now. They haven't sold yet, but they're under contract at this moment. Might be under contract in February, might be under contract like in mid-March. They haven't sold yet. That has gone up by 5.2%, and that is about 1,783. Now, month of supply has gone down from last year, which is 1.39 or negative 4.4%. A lot of numbers. All right, what does that mean? All right, so right now, supply, month of supply, and I've explained this in the past before, basically means if like all real estate activity stopped right now, like if things were not to sell anymore, people didn't want to buy houses, whatever supply is currently there is how long it would take to actually eat up all the current inventory, which right now is 1.39, which that means is it would take a month and about 3 weeks and a couple of days to get rid of all the inventory we have. Now, a healthy month of supply is usually around 4 to 6 months. That's what they call an average, where we have enough supply to meet all the demand that's out there. But right now we've been low, and we've been low for a very long time, ever since like 2020. It creeped up briefly to almost 2 months, and then it just dropped back down again. Listings are going down, so we're not exactly having as many listings as we've had before. So the question is what's going on? Prices going up still a little bit. I mean, not a lot, 0.6%, but still has gone up. So we're not flat, we're not going down, we're basically even. And the question is why? What's going on? Well, this is, again, Northern Virginia. And in Northern Virginia, we have a lot of things that kind of insulate us from everything else. I mean, in 2020, when things were going bad in other places, it wasn't going here. When people were talking, we were having crashes of houses in the market. It really never went down here. I don't think we ever had a month in where appreciation never went down. If anything, it's usually been flat. I mean, maybe we've had some small bumps, but most of the times if we had anything that happened, it just kind of went flat. Most of the times though, it's been going up, whether it's by small amounts or large amounts. Obviously in 2020, we had a lot of jumps. So what's going on exactly when it comes to, like, you know, with the months of supply being so low and, you know, listings aren't as high, that kind of makes sense. I mean, we don't have as many listings, so we're having things, not as much supply. And prices are still going up because we still do have demand. We have a lot of people with money still, people who are sitting on equity. Either they're sitting on equity or they've been saving for a while now, and they have a lot of money that they can put down payments to help, but they're not buying right now. Why? Buyers are a little more choosy. Interest rates are up. I mean, we're starting to finally dip towards the low fives. And all of a sudden things shot up. Why? You know, we had the war in Iran, people are scared, so they've heard the news. So interest rates started shooting back up towards 7. You know, it slowed things down. But at the same time, people still want to buy houses, and people have been saving up for years, or their equity has gone up. Now they have a little more money that they might be able to buy down that interest. But you're gonna be choosy. You don't want to just get into a house and just get into a house. If you're gonna get into a house with work, you wanna get into a house that has some equity behind it. If you're gonna be fixing it. If you're gonna get into a nicer house or pay more top dollar, that house better be really nice or fixed up well. So let's look at Arlington. Arlington has a median sale price of $819,000. That's about 7.9% positive. The sales volume has gone up to 33.2%. Now, Arlington isn't as big as Fairfax, and it's not as big as Prince William, but it is right next to DC. That is one of the big reasons. You have the metro, you have different ways of transportations of just like to get into DC, and a lot of DC people who don't want to live in DC but work in DC, but want to be really close to DC and being able to metro into DC, want to live in Arlington. Problem is, it's a little pricey. So that's why you get, you know, you get families that live in there, they're gonna be paying basically a premium. And right now the average price is $819. Now that kind of doesn't feel right in some ways. So why is it that, you know, it's at $819? Well, they have a lot of condos, And there are smaller homes, like these Ramblers that have jumped up to around $819. They're keeping the prices a bit more further down. But that is one of the reasons that you're having actually increase in price. All right, let's talk Fairfax County. Once again, you know, we actually did have a small dip in price in Fairfax County. So this is what I was talking about, like a little more local, about a negative 2.07%. Even though the median price went up to $768, the average price went down just by a little bit. So what happened there? Well, Fairfax County is bigger. You have a lot of people who they want to be close to DC, but they don't want to pay Arlington prices, so they're going there. And there was a lot of inventory that was sitting over from last year or earlier this year when rates started ticking back up, and you know, the war in Iran. It just all of a sudden caused some of these properties to sit, and people really wanted to sell. So what do? They dropped the price a bit, or they didn't sell as much as they normally would in a normal market. Like say the house would normally sell at $750, but it's been sitting there for 2 months and they really want to sell the property. So what do? It's been sitting there for 2 months, rates are going up, they drop it. And now they're not selling at the average price of that neighborhood. So it caused some price drops. But there was a lot of places, like especially nicer homes. I mean, I had multiple offers on my last listing. I had 3 of them, one of them was cash, and it shot the price up. So now you're having prices go up a little bit on some of these smaller houses that are nicer. They're nicer, ready to move in. If you don't have the bells and whistles, you have to adjust price. All right, so Prince William. Prince William is one of those areas that you get more money for going down there, and that's absolutely true still. It's going up, but this is one of those things that are absolutely still true. People they don't want to pay Fairfax prices. They want to still get a bigger home, but they don't want to pay like $800,000 for a single family. You go to Prince William, you're now at like $500,000, $600,000. Still high, but way more doable, and you can get some newer homes. People are going down there, they're flocking down there. So right now the volume went up about 46.4%. Sales went up 37.1%. So, and the median price is now at $593. That's why I'm saying single families, you're looking at around $600, but you still get more bang for your buck. So what does this mean if you want to buy or sell? All right, buyers. Rates are fluctuating. If the rates hit low and you have the cash and you have the down payment, you know, whatever you find, you find. I mean, obviously you're being selective, and that's okay. If you have to take 2, 3, 6 months to find that house that has all the bells and whistles, or at least something that has some equity behind it if you have to update it, that's what it's looking at. You need a strategy to figure out which houses is gonna fit your needs best, especially since you are being more selective, and that makes a lot of sense. There are more houses that are sitting. You might have more negotiating power right now. You know, it used to be you had to get rid of all of your contingencies. Some contingencies are back. You might get credits back. There's a lot more negotiating power out there now, especially because you are being selective. So it's better to go in, have a plan. I mean, that's what I'm here for. So, you know, if you ever need anything like that, that is what you need to do. Whatever agent you use, whether it's me or somebody else, you need a plan. You need to figure out exactly what you're looking for, so when we find it, you go in and you can get it, and maybe even get something back from it. Maybe some kind of credit, maybe a home warranty. Maybe you get it for the price that you're looking for or lower, and you walk in with some equity. Sellers. It's always the same thing: price, location, condition. But right now we also have current situation when it comes to us. Interest rates are fluctuating. They're slowing down buyers. Buyers, like I just said, are selective. If your house is not all the way updated, like really nice, you may not get what you're looking for. Now, it all depends on comps. Some neighborhoods, if you have mixed updates, they're all selling around the same price. Great, if you have mixed updates, that's exactly where you should be. Maybe be a little more competitive and drop the price a little bit, especially because of what's going on. Doesn't mean, just because you drop the price doesn't mean you're like losing money. It means that you're not sitting there for 3 to 6 months. You wanna make sure you have a little bit of like negotiating power, a little bit of marketing power specifically. You wanna get buyers in there, so maybe you do get a competition. Like I said, my last listing, we did have like several offers on the table. This wasn't like a one-time like, oh look, we only have this one offer and that's all you have to go with. I mean, that could happen. That could happen. Maybe your neighborhood's not as desirable. Maybe your neighborhood is backing up to certain things. Maybe your neighborhood's a little too far out. There's some things that you can't change. That means you have to adjust the price for that. Now, don't think that you can go and sink in $50,000 and now you're gonna get $50,000 in equity. That's not how it works. If everybody's selling at 500 and your house is worth like 420, not 420, I'm sorry, like 490, putting in 50,000 isn't gonna make your house worth now like 540. It's gonna make it worth 500 if everybody's updated and selling at 500. That's how that works. If you will catch up to what everything else is. Now, if your house needs a lot of work or needs a lot of update and everybody's selling at 500, maybe that's where you give the bigger discount so people are willing to sink in that 50,000. Maybe you're not willing to pull out a HELOC or get a loan or use your own cash just to update it, which is fine. But again, you need a strategy and a plan to market your house correctly and to know exactly where you are and what you need to do to make it worthwhile for a buyer to walk in. So those are the numbers. I hope you enjoyed Chiffon popping in every once in a while. Yes, he is a cat. If you have any questions, concerns, you want to know what's going on in your market, you want to know what is specifically going on in your particular area, your neighborhood, you know, send me a DM or call or text me anytime. Buyer, same thing. If you're questioning, wondering what you need to do to succeed in this market, contact me. I'm here to help. Thanks very much and have a good day. Siobhan, you need to stop.